Yo!
I'm like, listen to this shit right here.
Called Damn by Kendrick Lamar. If you haven't listened to it, you definitely need to go do so. Go download it, go do something, because every single damn song on it is so damn great. It starts off with the song titled Blood, and he gives us the imagery. Blind woman pacing up and down the sidewalk, frustrated. Had dropped something and having a hard time finding it. After watching her struggle for a while, I decided to lend her a helping hand. That scenario in itself, I think it really reflects the overall album. And I think that is very important to keep in mind throughout the rest of the album, because to solve any type of negativity, you need to start off with the small things. A problem solved by a simple act of kindness. In the next song, called DNA, he says, daddy snitched, heritage inside your DNA, someone's older son, who do you know? He highlights the elite class linkage via connections and the privileges that come with being in America, the upper white class. And that's also important to keep in mind. I'm going to just note everything as we go through. But it is important because if you don't have that understanding of the classism that exists in your society, it's hard to understand really the positioning or experiences of other cultures and other races. The next song, called Ya. Today is the day I follow my intuition. He says, black, that word is only a color.
It ain't facts no more.
Kendrick Lamar is very successful because catchy, relatable, and that's really all you need. Yeah, 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 yeah. So, anyway, the next song, called Element. I don't do it for the gram, I do it for Compton. We relocate, jump on the same G5. I love how animated he is. He has a very unique character, and to me, I feel like he really lets that be known on this album. In his next song, called Feel, I feel like friends been overrated. I feel like the family been faking shit. I feel like ain't nobody praying for me. And this is very important because he expresses a feeling that we as humans tend to keep private. And so by him creating a palette for him to just lay out all of his personal private feelings and experiences for the audience is a very big achievement, especially since he not only provides a way for the large audience to relate to, but he reflects on his internal conflicts and experiences that his community can fundamentally relate to as well. Read, look. That whisper saying, look, is placed between those lines for a reason, I feel. Just Kendrick is not only saying, look at the problems at hand, referencing I Can't Breathe, Black Lives Matter movement, but I also believe that he is ultimately communicating the message to his listeners to look further between the lines of what they hear and see, to look closer as an individual rather than at the broadly displayed headlines. It's as if he's saying, look, pay attention to the roots. Your flowers are thirsty and trying to bloom. That's where any real successful change comes from. And that root being our sense of identity that clashes with the other as if they're an enemy, when really we have a lot in common. He lays out all of his connections and the problems that exist in them. And I'm sure many of us have felt that way. It's just like a stepping stone to his growth, The next track, called Loyalty, featuring Riri. Secret Society, loyalty. That's one of my favorite words. Trust and respect, and the same thing.
Tell me who you're loyal to.
Can you imagine trying to trust somebody who isn't loyal to at least two people? Come on now. That would be hard to do.
So, show me where it's at.
The next song, called Pride. But pride's gonna be the death of you and me. We're all human. He says, I can't fake humble just cause your ass is insecure. And
I was thinking, wow. Can we just note how well
he finesses through this song while giving us reason that ultimately justifies not only his pride, but his unapologetic blackness. Track is Lust, and I'm gonna try and skip over some of them so you guys can listen to them yourselves. The next track, Triple X, featuring U2. Kendrick describes a situation where someone asks him to pray for him, which can also be related back to his track called Feel.
And Kendrick's lyrics read, the great American flag is wrapped in drag with explosives. Compliance disorder, sons and daughters, barricaded blacks in borders. Look what you taught us. America's reflection of me. That's what a mirror does.
And in this, he pinpoints the hole in America's foundation with regard to the political, economic, social, and specifically the educational disparity. Here he mentions barricaded blacks and borders. Right now, there are prominent racial boundaries and borders that exist within America still today. And when you reference historical factors that impact the area, for example, say Chicago, you can see the connection of how certain areas stayed so affluent and why the others are just barely holding on. Upon this displacement of persons and initial displacement of persons and the buildings of cities, back then there were rules and laws that have applied to specific persons that apply no more, but yet they are implied still all the more often. In the end of the song, the lyrics, "It's not a place, this country is to be a sound. In my opinion, this country will not be a sound but an echo," as well. And these 14 tracks exemplify his personal road to his success and further progression to becoming a better him, so don't judge him because he took a different path. The last track is called Duckworth, and again he highlights what happens on earth stays on earth. The beat on this track
It's dope, okay.
And the last track is called Duckworth. He highlights again what happens on earth stays on earth. I believe it's called Duckworth for several reasons. The main one because he says it was always me against the world. And in relation to the story of the ugly duckling, he theoretically is the ugly duckling. But with that said, he's the ugly duckling with worth. And this is an extremely positive message to convey. Because to society, he's the ugly duckling. But to him, he knows what he was worth. He knows what he is worth.
All in all, his
Album is a hit, in my opinion. And if you haven't already hopped on Game yet, then it's time you ride that train.
Again, the album
Is titled Damn by Kendrick Lamar.
My name is Precious Allen, and until next time,
Thank you for viewing. Subscribe if you haven't already done so.
peace out.